All right, guys, welcome to ClueCon Weekly. Today is November 5th, and today we'll be talking about using some of the tools we have available, such as Jira, Stash, Git, and related tools, so that we can do proper pull request and help make the dev team's life a lot easier when accepting patches from the community. Mr. West will be talking about this here shortly. Before we get to that, just a couple of announcements. As you'll notice, we have released 1.4.13. This is just a regular update release. It does address several bugs, including a seg fault, which has been resolved. And there's also several new features in there. Check out the post at FreeSWITCH.org for a brief list of some of the updates and fixes and new features that are there. Pretty much all the new features are just minor stuff, but you might find some of them interesting, such as the new hard mute on conferences. If you're doing a lot of conferencing, hard mute actually stops the audio from you getting in the mod conference, so you can reduce the amount of transcoding that your box is having to do for a lot of conferences. There's also the seg fault that I mentioned is related to media, and it popped up, I guess, about 6 or 8 bugs were generated from that one fix. So that's actually resolved in the source tarballs and in the packages that are available now. So you guys can get those from files.freeswitch.org as normal for the source tarball, and they're also available in the Debian and Yum repos. See the wiki, see Confluent to get the information on how to add those to your Yum or app sources list. And we're still continuing on, and I believe we're getting pretty close to having all the tweaks and tuning from the network move completed at this point. We're still working on a few things, such as the website and areas like that. So keep an eye out for changes on there. All right, guys. And Brian, how you doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good. It's been a busy morning already. So
yes,
what we're going to be talking about today, guys, is some change.
Wrong one. My bad, Brian.
Okay, I was going to say, what's going on? All right, so we're going to talk about some changes about how patches are submitted via Jira. Currently, we're trying to get everything into a workflow that is easier for us to manage. Otherwise, we spend a lot of time sorting things, collecting information, and trying to sort it out. And it's kind of like herding cats sometimes. It seems like you can't get anywhere. But the pull requests are fairly efficient, get everything in a nice, reviewable manner. So what I'm going to start with here is, if you notice, for example, we have this Jira here, FS6961, which has a patch on it, but does not have a pull request. So we're going to do a pull request for this. So the first step of doing a pull request is you would go over to Stash, make sure you're logged in. What you want to do is fork FreeSWITCH. So we're going to do this into FreeSWITCH Brian. This is just my fork of FreeSWITCH. So we're going to fork the repository. It's a fairly quick process. Okay, once it's forked, you'll see this clone. We want to clone this so that we can now do this patch against it. Is everybody following along so far? Tell me if I'm going too fast. All right, well, this clones. This should go fairly quick.
Yeah, Brian, while you're waiting on it to clone there, just keep in mind, guys, if you already have your own fork of FreeSWITCH on Stash and everything, you can skip that step and go along. If you don't have that fork yet, you'll want to do that first, as Brian's showing here.
Okay, now that the clone is done, we're going to go back over here to our Jira. All right, and if you notice, you'll scroll down. Once you have the Jira open, don't worry about attaching a patch. You'll create a branch from here, and it'll bring you up to a screen here. So we want to create a branch in my repository branch type. It's a bug fix. If you notice, it's already filled out a branch name for you here. So we're going to create branch. Make sure I pull that branch down. All right, so now that we've got the branch created, we'll go back to the Jira. And we'll scroll down and get this patch. And we'll apply it. All right. Wait. I got to check out the branch first. Oh, that didn't patch. Let's see here. I got to check this branch out first. Sorry, I'm get to status. Make sure we're already on the right. Switch to new branch, get status. Let's make sure we're there. Okay, on branch origin bug fix 69.
No, leave the origin / off of it, Brian.
I did the first
don't
one.
do the -B.
Why? See, this is why I don't like it.
Because it'll automatically set up a tracking branch that way.
Okay. All right. So now we have this. Now this patch won't apply. We got to see what this patch won't apply and correct it real quick. Let's see here. This could have already been committed and not properly. Switch back, call, hang up. That's it right here. So we're going to have to hand patch this just to create this. So we're going to take these lines and we're going to and then we're going to save this. All right. Now, make sure we have what we need in there. I think I did that right. Yep. Okay. So now that we have this patch updated, we're going to commit it to this branch. So this is FS6961. Now we're going to say git commit -m, and this is the format we want to have it in: mod Erlang event, and a description of the Jira, which is add call UUID hangup message. Okay, so we're going to put that in there. Source mod in not endpoint event handlers. Handlers mod Erlang. .c. All right, so this is in here. We're going to push it now. And if you notice, it says create pull request. When you push this to the branch, it's going to give you the URL to create the pull request for this commit. Just copy that out. This is a convenience feature. Copy that out, and let's go to a new tab, and let's paste it in. All right, so we're going to create a pull request here. We've got the branch right. We've got the repo and the branch. We're going to go to master, and then we're going to click create pull request. Now, the description, we're going to add this over here. We'll just take some of this entire bit from the original Jira in, just so we have it. So now we have the title and the description. And you click create. And that is as simple as it is. Now, if you go back over to the Jira and reload, you'll notice that there's one branch and one pull request open. So this is how you create a pull request. There's not a whole lot to it. This is a very simple, straightforward. Most of it's done from your web browser. The bulk of it will be done from your web browser, so it's not as complex as a lot of people are making it out to be. Even I, working through this morning, we worked out the differences here. Does anybody have any questions on how we did this? Comments?
I'll make a comment here, Brian. By following this procedure here and creating the pull request, I know that Brian and Mike and Tony, they sit around looking at Jira and patches all the time, and they have to download the patch, put it in, et cetera, and so forth. By creating the pull request, it gives them a pointer that they can go grab that real quick. If there needs to be testing or whatever, they can review the patch right there in the web browser. And if it's something simple, it's a one-click merge from that point. It saves so much time, it's not even funny. So by you guys doing that, go ahead.
It also makes it where you have a branch that's publicly out there that if we need additional people to test it, they are able to just go and do that directly. So we can just pass a clone URL around, which makes that process much easier.
All right. So in the process of doing this, guys, this makes our job easier. It helps speed up your patches. If for example, there's a comment about this patch, it can be discussed right here on the patch in line with what's going on. So you can comment on it. Like, say, if we were reviewing this patch and we saw, okay, the patch is okay, but we would like you to change X or Y because this doesn't meet our coding standards, which we do have that documented on the wiki. We'll be clarifying that a little bit more over the next couple of weeks as we revamp the reporting Jira, how to do pull requests, documentation, and everything. But this video will be going up on Confluence. Anybody have any other questions? I think that was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I have a couple other comments. When creating pull requests, when you're done, I mean, if you commit 50 times to this branch while you're working on it, totally fine. When you're done and ready to create the pull request, if you could go through and clean up your branch and squash appropriate things together. Most patches make sense in one patch. For pull requests, there are certainly times that breaking them up makes sense. Certainly never have white space changes in the same patch as something that actually does something that makes it really hard to review. And actually, white space cleanup in general, I'd almost prefer in a completely separate pull request. There are occasions where you're fixing an entire area of bugs, and it actually makes sense to split them out into separate commits. There are not very many occasions of that, but they do exist. So typically, we're going to be wanting to see a single commit squashed together. Also, don't have a bunch of merge commits in your branch while you're working on it. If you need to update to master or something like that to resolve conflicts, please rebase against master so that your patches are just sitting on top of essentially master whenever you work on it the last time. It makes, with the merge commits in there, it makes the understanding what's in tree really difficult. And also, please make sure that when you create the pull request, that your commits actually have the Jira listed at the beginning of the commit line.
Not the first commit line. Put it in the body somewhere.
In the what?
Put it in the body of the commit, somewhere further down. Right.
In the commit note itself, just so we can keep track of that this is tied to that Jira. We're going to start enforcing that probably soon.
The other thing I would mention to people is take a look in Tree. There's a document under Docs submitting patches.
Yeah.
And that document outlines many of the things we're talking about here. And in fact, if you have a question that is not in that document, please ask us and send a note to us and say, hey, I have this question and it's not in the document. And what we'll do is that if it's, a reasonable question and you actually have read the document and it's not already there, we'll go and we'll add it to the document and say, okay, thank you very much. We have added this to the document now. There's your answer. So we would like that to be a comprehensive how-to guide for all questions related to how to do this properly. And it covers a number of things Mike just discussed regarding, consolidating things down into a single commit, not merging against master unnecessarily, rebasing against our tree. It has pointers on many of those things. Oh yeah, and adding in the JIRA number into the body of the commit message.
And something else I want to bring up, we really like that people want to jump in and help out and submit patches. We'll provide you feedback if something's not done, how it needs to be done. It's nothing personal, so I don't want anybody getting offended if we give you feedback and you may not agree with it. If you don't agree with something we say, by all means, comment and say, why you don't. But don't get offended by it, and we're all here to work together on things. It's just going to help all of us get things done faster.
I do look at a huge number of patches during the day, so I typically, in the early stages, will do fairly cursory looks for major issues. So sometimes it'll take me 2 or 3 looks to get everything sorted out. So try not to be too annoyed with me giving you a list of things and then you fixing all of them and giving you another list of things. It's a result of my process of how much I can actually look through. So.
All right, Ken, I think that wraps that up.
Travis, do you have any other pointers?
The ones I mentioned there. Let me look at that file and I'll mention anything else that stands out to me.
Yeah, Brian, I want to thanks, Brian, for doing the screen session here, because I think that gives everybody a good walkthrough on what to do. We'll be posting this recording later and out on YouTube, so you can then come back and watch it. But the process is really straightforward, and I think it's been covered quite well and everything. So if anybody has any questions that they would like to get in here, go ahead and speak up or ask on IRC or right there in the chat window in Big Blue Button, and we'll try to address those real quick.
The one thing I would mention here is write a really good commit message. If you write a really good commit message where in the body of the commit message you describe why the change is necessary, what was wrong with the current behavior, what the change does, if there's any standards that it complies to with the change, anything like that. The commit message is communication to us, and not just us now, but our future selves too, so that when we look back on it, we go, oh, that's why we applied that commit. So the better, there's no maximum length to a commit message. Write as much information as you can about why this is a good change. If you look at the kernel community, you'll find that there's often a commit message that's longer than the diff itself, that there'll be this one-line change that is massively impactful and will have a chapter-length commit message for a very small change, because the reason why the change is being made is sometimes more important than the change itself. And so the better the commit message, the better you're communicating to us, and the easier it is for us to apply the patch, because we can look at it and go, oh, that's why that's really necessary. And the process of writing that commit message and justifying it will probably help you when writing the patch to decide whether you've done everything correctly, because the process of trying to justify it to others will help you justify it to yourself as well.
It's also a huge help as we create our weekend reviews and our release notes and all of that. And if we have to go back and understand what happened with something, the commit note's going to be the first place we look. And if the information's actually there, it saves us having to go dig through JIRA and probably considerable time to do some analysis on why we did something in the past.
Right. Questions not just about pull requests, commit messages, but about in general process development, the way forward, versioning, anything like that, we're happy to talk about at this point.
Right.
All right, Ken.
Hit 0 to unmute yourself, because a lot of people probably don't realize they're muted. Or you can ask on IRC real quick. We'll give you just a minute to ask. But I think that pretty much covers everything. And nobody's popping up to ask questions. So, all right, guys. I want to thank y'all all for coming out this week. We'll be posting this video here shortly, and linking that on freeswitch.org. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at FreeSWITCH. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/FreeSWITCH. Or you can always visit the website at freeswitch.org. And for you guys with RSS readers, there is a live feed there, and we're updating that a lot more often now. So you'll see a lot more information there. I want to thank you. You guys come back next week. I believe we're going to have Fred Dixon here with Big Blue Button for an update on what they're doing, and also to show us some tips and tricks on what we can do with the Big Blue Button server. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next week.